Welcome into the shadow sessions. Fran and Shannon here. Fran, what's going on? What do you want to talk about today? Where are we going?
I got things. I got things. Okay. I took notes because this is something that I've been, so hang on. Let's back up for a second.
Yeah.
So I am always like wondering, how do I create my reality? Because I hear people all the time talk about different ways, like, oh, I created this, or I manifested this, or God gave me this. And I'm like, all right, how does this really work? Because you guys know, if you've been working with me or you know me, I test my theories out on me first, or test things out on me first, and then test them out on everybody else. So
Yeah.
there's the idea about how reality is actually created, because everybody's heard as within, so without, and people are like, "Oh yeah, so within, as with whatever, as within, so without," and I'm just like, "Yeah," and then you start explaining it, and then you start explaining them in like their own realities or what happened to them, and they're like, "No, no, 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 that's not how it works." And I'm like, "Yes, it is. You just can't pick and choose what's going to work and what's not going to work." Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it because it gets to be such a loop, right? It's not like this straight line, and when everybody wants they want the easy path. They want this path that just goes like this, but this has so many zigs and zags and I yeah, keep going. Keep
It's
going. I'm
it's
I'm
funny
I'm
because
intrigued.
okay, so your reality isn't random. If as within, so without is the idea, is the foundation for how we create our reality, right? It's built before it even happens on top of a lot of the time. I know. Like, I'm getting, like, really excited because 'cause I'm, like, stumbling over my words because I get so excited about this topic. Alright, so everyone thinks reality just happens to them. It doesn't. Your reality is created through a sequence. It's a belief, then a perspective, then action, then the reality. So the belief is the root, right? This
Right.
is where we have all these beliefs. Can I be a millionaire? Or can I not be a millionaire or have money? Let's just say money, right? Can I find love? Is love for me? This is where all of this stuff is built, is in your beliefs. So when people are like today, they're like, "Oh, but I believe I can get money, or I believe in I can receive love." That's great. I love that for you, that you can think that you can have it right now. But it's not you today, it's you from yesterday or the past.
It's that subconscious stuff, the stuff that we don't know is
Mhm.
festering under the surface. It's the stuff that's driving our lives. Okay, yes, keep going.
And
I'm in.
and right. You're like, "Subscribe." Like, "I'm here." And this is what a lot of coaches don't talk about, or a lot of people, let me not categorize, but a lot of people don't get to. They just say, "Oh, just change your perspective." How the fuck can you change your perspective if you have the belief that's still there? Make it make sense.
Right,
Right? So a
right.
lot of people will think I need to do affirmations, which do work, don't get me wrong, but for me, they don't work fully. I can't just change my mindset or change the belief just by speaking it to myself 50 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked
I
in the
need,
past about how I tried affirmations and yeah, I got what I wanted, but I couldn't keep it.
mhm.
You know,
Right?
you
Because
you
guess
you
what? You didn't have the belief system to hold it.
yeah, to hold on to it because immediately after I got it, what did I do? I started going back to my thoughts. But what about this? But am I good enough? But what if somebody else did it? What if? And it
What if I
wasn't
lose it? What if
yeah.
what if the other shoe drops?
Yep.
So the belief is the root, right? These are the things you decide, pardon me, are true, usually unconsciously.
Yes.
Sorry, when I start channeling, I start burping and
No.
hiccuping.
Yeah, get after it, girl. I love it.
Like you just said, like, "I'm not good enough. People always leave me." That was one of mine. This is, um, I I have that, I still hold that belief that people leave me because they do. And then I have to go in and sit with, we'll talk about that in a second, but the
Yeah.
belief is nothing works out for me. The other shoe's always gonna drop. It's gonna be taken away from me. So, you don't question these, you operate from them. This
Yes.
is where you operate from. Most people don't go in and ask the question, "Well, why do I feel like I'm not good enough?" How many people are doing that?
I I think the bigger thing is until I met you, I didn't even know that
Mhm.
was a thing. Like, yes, I had heard the terminology inner child
Right.
work,
Mhm.
but I didn't believe that it was actually something within me. I didn't know what it meant, so until you start
Mhm. 'Cause what are we
diving
taught?
in. Yeah, go.
Yeah. No, what are we taught? Go ahead.
Oh,
What are you
yeah,
taught instead?
bury it, carry it.
Bury it. You're taught that like, your destiny is already predestined.
Yeah,
Like, you create your destiny. God's
yep,
gonna do it for me.
yep,
You you're in co-creation with God.
right. What happens to me, it just happens. It's not something that I pulled in. It's not. I
Yeah.
mean, manifestation was like this fairy tale.
That's where
Manifesting
everybody
some.
starts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's just a fairy tale. It's not. It doesn't really happen that way.
It doesn't. Well, it happens, like, I've seen people, including myself, get what they want, but then they lose it. That's where the idea of the other shoe will drop or it's not gonna work out for me, is because I don't have a belief system to hold it. Okay, so
Right.
let's talk about money, right?
Yeah.
The belief is I'm not worthy of money. Money is like, there's so many beliefs here, right? If you don't have the money, let's just say you want $1,000,000. That's it. You want to make $1,000,000 in a year. If you don't have the belief system to hold that $1,000,000 and the nervous system and the body and the mindset, if you don't have all those clicking, then you can't have it.
What's funny is, you always tell me, sit with that. What do you feel? Even as
Mhm,
you said, I want $1,000,000, I said it back to
mhm.
myself and I could feel my heart rate start to pick
There
up.
it is.
Like there's
You
there's
say it to
clearly
your
a belief there, right?
like, just ask yourself, am I ready for a romantic relationship or a platonic friendship? Or am I ready for a relationship with my family? Am I ready for a $100,000 a year job? Just pick something and see what your body does.
Right.
Your body holds all the answers for everything.
Yeah. And that whole theory, that whole concept used to be so foreign to me. And
Mhm,
even like this last weekend, I had a situation where I usually would panic and
mhm,
I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself. My kids and I had gone out of town for a concert. In the past, the situation that happened, I would not have even been able to be present at the concert. And I felt like this light switch. Like I started off with my old feelings, and all of a sudden, I felt this light
mhm.
switch in me. Something just flipped, and I was like, I don't care. This is where I'm
'Cause you're
at. I am
choosing
here
different.
right
Yeah,
now in this moment because I have
yeah.
done the work, right? I have been present with myself and showing up for myself in ways that I didn't in the past. And
Mm.
that's I think that's where kind of where you're going with this a little bit is once
Yep,
you
number
start
2.
doing yeah, once you start doing that work, take it
Yeah,
away. Let's do number 2.
right. Perspective, how you see things, okay? Perspective is everything once you understand the belief system, because you can see your belief system, what it is, through your perspective. How do you think that everything is bad or evil or I hate like, it come like, when I do ghost hunting, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's evil." How is that evil? You you are telling or tarot cards. Somebody came up to me in the shop where I do readings, in a witch shop and said, "Tarot cards are evil." I said, "Have you ever worked with them?" And she was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. How can you call something evil?" Anyway, see her belief system, that then her
Yep.
perspective is tarot cards are evil. So therefore, anytime she hears a tarot reading or sees a tarot reader or sees somebody, she's gonna automatically think they're evil.
Mhm.
So it's your belief shape how you interpret things.
Yes.
I think we need to talk more about this in life with I think a lot more people in the spiritual community need to talk about this. They're starting to because I was listening to Bashar the other day, who is this gentleman, I think his name is Daryl Anka. I think the first name Daryl. But anyway,
Yep.
he was talking about this and I'm like, "See, more people need to talk about this." It's your
Yeah.
beliefs that then turns into your perspective, which like you just said, you saw things differently at that
Yep.
concert. You had fun instead.
Yep. Right, like, it was like a light
Yeah.
switch. It was like the craziest thing in the world where, like, one moment I'm standing there and I'm like, old feelings," and all of a sudden I'm like, "No.
Yeah, because
I
you have a
deserve
new
to be
belief
treated a
system.
certain way," It was like, "Wait, why am I standing here like this? No, like, dance, like, have fun, like, smile. This is what I'm here
Yeah.
for. I'm not here to have a pity
I wish
party."
more I wish more people would do that because what concert did you go to?
Um, Ashley Kutcher, it was a small
Mhm.
intimate show. It was really cool. but yeah.
Yeah, so your perspective, how you see things, you now have a whole different belief system, so now your perspective can be, "Oh, I'm gonna have fun, I'm not gonna let this situation get me down," right?
Mhm. Yep.
So, your beliefs shape how you interpret things. Same situation, different belief equals a different completely different meaning.
Right.
See, you just said it when you were at the concert, and that if that was to happen and you didn't have a different belief about it, you would not have it could not give a different meaning. You wouldn't be able to see it differently.
Right. I would have been that girl from New Orleans when we first met
Oh my god,
who
yes.
was got this text message and was in tears on
Wait,
Bourbon Street.
let me set the scene. Let me set the scene. We're in the middle of the street. We're about to go on a ghost tour that me up. Not in a bad way, but like anyway. So we're getting ready. We're getting ready to go to this bar first. John Lafitte's. It's the oldest bar, I guess, in America. Anyway, so we're outside getting a po' boy. We're about to eat before we go get drinks and then go on this ghost tour. I remember Ari was there. All of a
Yep.
sudden, Shannon, who I'm 5'2", Shannon's almost 6 foot. She comes up to me and I'm looking up at her like this. And she's like about on the verge of tears. And I'm like, what the f is going on? What happened? What did who hurt you?
And I had gotten a text and I felt like I was in the wrong. I should have been available in that moment. And I was like, "I don't know what to do. How do I make this right?" Like, I felt like it was all my fault, but that was my
Yeah.
belief. My belief
Mhm.
system told me that I needed to be available or
Right.
I would be rejected.
Exa- exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Because if you were not available, he's going to leave you.
Yeah, and that was the same situation that I had this last weekend. I hadn't
Mhm.
talked to this friend in a while. They texted me, wanted to know if I wanted to do something, and I was like, "Hey, I can't tonight, but how about tomorrow?" And they said, "Oh, sure." Like it was sure. And you could tell the energy of
Yeah.
the conversation changed.
Mhm.
And I at first I was like, "Oh my gosh, I let them down. Are they gonna
Yeah.
abandon me now?" And then immediately I was like,
Mm.
"No, you know what? I did nothing wrong. I am here. This is a plan that I've had. I'm in this
Right.
moment and this is about me. And if they want to hang out tomorrow, great. If not,
You know what you did in that moment?
what?
You took your power back.
Hell yes, I did.
You took your and this is where you're not giving your power away, because power is something that's sacred, your power, your energy. You decided to flip the script and choose differently. So
Yes.
therefore, it's really interesting when you do that because now actions is the third one. It's like what you do next, right?
Yep.
Your perspective determines your behavior. Now you chose a different behavior. What now we're gonna get it's gonna come to a conclusion in just a second,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So your perspective determines your behavior. If you believe you're being ignored like you felt, right?
Yep.
Like they didn't text back, you
It's
know,
okay.
they didn't text back.
Yep.
Your old pattern would be what?
To blame myself, to say I did
Mhm.
something wrong,
Okay.
to reach out and say,
Overthink.
"But what about me? But what about me?
Right.
Do you
Overthink,
still"
chase with yeah. Yeah. That's
energetically even chase. Even if I didn't send the text, I would energetically be like, what did I do? What did I do? Can
mhm.
I how can I make it better?"
You know what you did? You believed everything's fine. You felt the other belief come up, and because there's always gonna be multiple beliefs that happen because it's never a neutral moment with anybody. Let's be
Right.
real. It just isn't, right? So, multiple beliefs will come up, and we like to call them parts in IFS. Multiple parts will come up to protect you, and whoever's the strongest will push forward and will protect you. So some people get angry, some people get withdrawn, some people live in fear, and some people are disappointed. You get it, embarrassment, shame, guilt, whatever.
Yep.
Okay. All those parts come up.
Yep.
So instead, your new belief system is I hear you parts. I hear you little inner children. I hear you emotions. I hear you triggers. I'm trying to use all the words so people get it.
Yep.
I hear you. I feel you. I know what you're about to do, but I'm in control.
Yes.
I got this. And then new parts come in because you're teaching your system, new parts who've been dormant or not as loud come up and now are helping you understand to trust the situation or trust yourself.
It was like a switch flipped, and that's probably what you're
Mhm.
referring to, right? I went from
Yeah.
that sad I don't even know, I don't the word that's coming to mind is pathetic, but I don't
No,
wanna
no, no.
say
Use it.
pathetic, but
Why?
that sad,
Use it.
pathetic version of me
Mhm.
shut down, and the alive, "I'm going for what I deserve. I am going
Right.
to be happy. I'm tired of being sad." And that's something else too. So, a couple weeks ago, I was at Costco, and I had just been having, like, an off week, and I'm walking down an aisle, and all of a sudden in my head, all I could hear was, "Can we just be happy now?"
I
And
felt the same thing.
that
Go
was,
ahead.
like, my biggest wake-up call
Mhm.
of, why am I living this sad, pathetic life? Why am I waiting for everybody else to show up and to do things for me? It's time for me to take action, right? Like, to where you're at right now and what step you're on. It's time for me to take action instead of waiting
Yeah.
for everybody else to show up.
Exactly. It's funny because I had the same feeling. It's like I was always chasing a person or a situation or always going out and never could sit with my own energy. Now it's like, I don't want to go out the house. Like I love my own energy. Like I'm starting to understand. I'm happier. I've been posting about this, but it's true. Once you healing doesn't happen in this big dramatic way. It happens in this subtle things. It happens in sipping my coffee from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, drinking coffee, watching shows that I did watch as a child, like just
Finding
having
your
a slow
peace.
morning. Huh?
Finding your peace.
Yes. And what I wanted as a kid, because as you do inner work, you understand what you needed as a kid. And then all of a sudden you start, and this all happens subconsciously, start giving myself what I needed: more rest, more time with myself, more doing the things I wanna do. So, all of this starts to happen once you start to do all of this.
Yep.
So then we go from actions to reality, the result. That's what I'm talking about. Your actions create your outcomes, right? So then
Yep.
all of a sudden, this is how I know that I'm doing the work. I hate doing the work, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. I'm doing the work and it's showing up in my reality. That's how I know the shit works because I'm giving myself
Yeah.
what I needed as a kid. So your actions start to create your outcome. So if you withdraw, chase, you might push people away, create tension, right? And then when you say, see, this always happens to me, but then it didn't just happen. It was built from the inside out. You're realizing that everything you do is built from the inside out, as within, so without. So I hope people get it now. And you can't pick and choose. If you don't like your outcome, like you just said, it hit you in Costco. It's going to hit you in random places.
Mhm.
It hits you and you're like, what the
Yeah. And then I was able to actually enjoy the moment, right? So we go back to the concert, like, I was actually able to enjoy the concert that I had been looking forward to for 3 or 4 months,
right.
and I think that's also something too that's really hit me this week, is a lot of times we feel something, and we create
Mhm.
a story from it, right? And
Mhm.
so we make that feeling have meaning, instead
Mhm.
of just saying, "Okay, I'm feeling scared right now."
Mhm.
It doesn't have anything. I had this yesterday. So I have this little project going. Like you, I'm enjoying my house right now, and I'm trying to make
Mhm.
some changes to it to enjoy it even more. And
Mm.
the project isn't going quite as planned, and I've got a few extra holes in my wall that weren't supposed to be there, and it's got me kind of stressed. And I noticed yesterday I felt sad. Immediately I was took myself back to this whole situation with this text message, and I was like, "I'm sad because of this." Because I didn't get a text message. And I was like, "Wait, I just created a story out of that. What if I'm
Yep.
sad because my wall project isn't going as planned, or it's taking longer, or it's costing more, or I have extra holes in my wall now that I didn't plan on? What if that's why I'm sad? What if it has nothing to do with the text message? But I created a story
Right.
which creating an outcome. It's going to have an effect on what I see in my reality because I just created
Mhm.
a story from a feeling, but I had no proof that's really what the whole correlation was.
That's another thing that people come to me and they think they're like, "Oh yeah, he hates me," or "He doesn't like me," or "He." How did you get to that conclusion? "Well, he's not answering me." Okay, so maybe he's busy. Maybe he doesn't know what to say. Maybe you mirror things back to him that he doesn't want to face right now. And how are you coming up with he doesn't like you?
Right. What if your emotions you're feeling right now have absolutely nothing to do with him and you're just creating that story?
Exactly. And it actually they are creating a story. It's not they're not creating it. It's a story that's been told to them their whole lives.
Right. Right.
This plus this plus this plus this equals this.
It's a
All these
story they're
actions,
holding on to.
it's exactly because that's what the first freaking thing they felt when somebody rejected them. They don't like me. So
Right.
now that is going to be the story and the outcome.
Or the feeling that I'm feeling right now has always been
Mhm.
caused by this.
That's what I
So
mean.
it
Yeah.
has to be this, right? It
Hmm.
has to be that I'm not good enough because every time
Right.
I feel this before, it's because I'm not good enough.
Exactly. That's so it happened once and now that is the barometer for everything else to happen. So if somebody doesn't text you back because your father ignored you and so now you think you're not good enough because that's the only belief or the only reason you can come up with, right? Now anytime a person doesn't text you back, specifically a man, I'm just using that as an
Yeah.
example, I'm not good enough. When you sit down and actually speak to people who are willing to talk to you about like, "Hey, I'm hurt about this situation. Can you talk to me about it?" Talk and you'll realize it had nothing to do with that. It had to
Yep.
do with themselves. It's so it's wild when you get in there. And this is why you can't just like change your perspective or change your actions. You have to go back to the belief. You have to. I know most
Yes.
people will disagree with me, but whatever. I don't care about those people. You're not my people.
I it's funny, I I drink your Kool-Aid, right? I am 100% invested in what you're talking about because
You're making me
I have
sound like a
seen
cult leader. I'm like, oh, oh,
She's
that's
really
my
not,
South
she's
node.
really not.
I'm not.
But
I hate being a cult leader. Like I hate it.
but I agree wholeheartedly, and there does come a point where you have to start to trust yourself, and I think that's
Hmm.
the phase I'm in right now, where I'm like, "Okay, I know my patterns." I mean,
Hmm.
when we talk about them, I can pick
Hmm.
it out in minutes, seconds. It's
And
like,
that's
"Oh,
where
I
people
know."
stop.
Yeah.
And that's where people
Yes.
stop.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
But for right now, for me, what I'm noticing is I now have to start trusting the new beliefs instead of
Yeah.
relying on the old beliefs. And so I'm taking a pause from going back and assessing the situations and understanding where those beliefs came from just to learn to trust myself a little bit more. And it's funny because it was actually Chat GPT, using Chat GPT that did this for me. And I am grateful because I I would ask Chat GPT a question and it would give me an answer and I would try to just understand it logically a little bit more because I feel like when I
Hmm.
understand
Yeah.
something logically, I can then get to feeling it. And you don't integrate it until you feel it. And so I
Hmm.
would ask, and ChatGPT is like, well, let's refine what you're saying. Let's tweak that a little bit. And I'm like, bitch, no, don't you dare. And I would get so mad. And I'm like, wait, I know what the answer is. Why am I not trusting myself? Why am I looking for somebody else to tell me? Even a freaking computer
Who
to
doesn't
tell
even know
me.
you, doesn't know emotions. I'm side eyeing you right now
Yeah,
with that chat GPT
I
shit. I'm
know,
like,
but it was one of those things where it was like, I needed that to show me that I wasn't trusting
mhm,
myself, that I wasn't saying,
yeah.
"No, like, I got this. I got this." And, like, this whole situation that I've had this last week, I didn't I didn't use ChatGPT to say, "How should I feel? Am I valid in what I'm thinking? Is this
Mhm.
right or wrong?" Or any like, I get so stuck in right or wrong, you know that about me, and that's something else too that I have to try to trust that no matter what, things are gonna go the way they need to go, and I think that's the part where people get
Mhm.
tripped up. Okay, stick with me here for a second. So,
Mhm.
you were talking about how a lot of people say, "Well, God did this for me." I think
Mhm.
that's where people get tripped up is
Yeah.
with right or
I was
wrong,
waiting for you to
right?
get there.
Like, okay, so when something's right or wrong, you have a lesson to learn, right? No matter
Mhm.
which way. Either you need to keep learning this lesson or you need to learn a different lesson. That's people think that this just happened to me because I didn't control it. But you really, in a way, you kind of did because you chose which lesson you still needed to learn. You
Mhm.
either need the light just turned back on. My camera keeps going dim and and just as I said it, the light turned back on.
Yes, keep going. Yes.
But we have a lesson to learn either way. And maybe you just haven't completed this lesson yet and you
Ooh,
made this
yeah.
decision. And I get so hung
Yep.
up on did I make the right or wrong choice? And it's not right or wrong, it's
No.
which way did I need to go? And ultimately, that's where you're coming back to my beliefs, my perceptions
Yep.
are what determined the outcome, determined my reality. It's not that it just happened to me or God gave it to me. It's back to your co creation. I still needed to learn this lesson, or I needed a new lesson. And that's the
Mhm.
direction I had to go in. Wow, that
See,
was long
I
winded, but
it is our no, it was great because everything is you're right. Everything is a lesson. Doesn't matter which way you go. And morals and ethics is a human construct. I hate to break it to a lot of people. It's human made, just like time. It's human made. Okay. So you're not wrong. Everything is a lesson. Whatever which way you go, you're gonna learn lessons. Everybody's like, well, what's the best decision I should make? You're gonna learn lessons regardless. Best decision is what the one you're aligned to. The one that makes you feel good. You're still gonna learn lessons. That's what people don't get. They think, "Oh, if I choose the right decision, control, like you said. If I
mhm,
choose the right decision, nothing bad will happen to me." And
right.
that's wrong. And because okay, you can determine what's good or bad.
Yep.
That's you. Everything is meaningless
Yes.
in the world. Everything is meaningless until you give it meaning. When you give it meaning, you give it an expectation. When you give it an expectation, you then are saying, this is how you need to do. This is what needs to happen. This is how you need to show up for me. No, that's where you get hurt. That's when, what did he say? Who said it? You suffer. The world is about suffering. Was it Buddha? The world is about suffering. To be human is to suffer. And it's because we have all these expectations
Yep.
about life. And it's like once you and so this is why I started to see a shift in my own life doing this work where I went in and I needed to rediscover who the hell I really was on all levels. That's when my life changed.
Yeah.
And I get to choose what feels aligned. And this is why we can't go through life in a very like we always have to be present. This is what present means. Stay present in what you're doing. Like at first I didn't realize what I was doing every morning. Walk Wilbur, make my coffee, sit on the couch, put on Who's the Boss.
Oh, I
I
love that
didn't
show.
understand what I know. I didn't understand why I was doing it, but actually I do remember when it started. One day I was turn on the TV and I have a Samsung, right? And Samsung has its own channels or whatever.
Yep.
All of a sudden the movie Annie came on.
Okay.
That was my movie growing up. Remember the movie Annie?
Yep.
Tomorrow, you know that song?
Yep.
Anyway, I sat down and I watched the whole movie. Now, for me to do that on a random Tuesday, I'm usually at my computer at 8 a.m., like, and then I'll shower around 10 and just get work
Mhm.
done out of the way. Here I am watching it, singing it, standing and singing every freaking song. That's when I knew. I was like, "Oh, I'm giving myself I'm gonna start crying. This is what I So I started doing that every morning because it felt good. I felt aligned to it.
Yep.
Wild.
Yeah. And
To the
that's
point
half the battle is, yeah,
Yes.
recognizing when something feels aligned.
Yes. And not forcing it. If you have to force it with a situation or with somebody and it's like pulling teeth, that's not alignment.
Right.
If that person is not texting you back, when you start to understand your system, your belief system, you will start to think, "Oh, they're not okay." And do you like, then you say, "Do I need to check in on them or should I just leave them alone?"
Right.
Most of the time, I don't know, for me, it's like, I'll text you to see if you're okay. If you don't answer after that text, I leave you alone.
Right. Yep.
'Cause
Agreed.
I'm not gonna keep texting you. I'm sorry. I'm not. But the sad part is, I know we're all over the map with this. The sad part is they're not showing up for themselves.
Right.
That's what really gets me, is when
Yep.
I don't see my friends or my family showing up for themselves.
Yep.
And I can only help you so far, and a lot of people, I'm not a neutral energy. I am not an easy energy, as my doctor says. She
Guilty.
says it. She literally, yeah, you see me, I'm intense in one way, you're intense another.
Yep.
'Cause you have an 8th house stellium, so you remind me of my father, because my father is a Scorpio, where he just stands there and he's intense. You know he's pissed.
Mhm.
That's why in New Orleans, I knew you were freaking pissed that one day, and I was like, I clocked this. I was like, "Okay, I get it, Shan. Ready? This is what we're gonna do." And I shifted it, but I shifted it, I'm gonna be real, I shifted it because a couple things, because I knew. I shifted it because I knew you were not happy, and that made me unsafe. So then
Yep.
I was like, "How can I make Shannon happy and still sit in my power?" Which we did, right? And you just have to figure, it's all about maneuver, reading, and this is how everybody is so intuitive and they don't get it. And they think, "Oh, God did that for me." No, you're intuitive.
Right.
You're co-creating with God. And here's another mind fuck. Ready for this shit?
Oh, buckled up.
Sometimes, I'm gonna say most of the time, because I can't. It really is, because when I get in there, I'm like, this shit isn't mine. My beliefs are not mine. They're generational. And when it comes to generational stuff, you can't heal it. There's no little energy who's holding on to this belief per se. Okay. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I didn't create it. It was given to me. But there might be a little energy. I see it as a little energy holding on to it. But I'm like, wait, this isn't yours. You can feel what generates from you and what is generational. And when it's generational, it's not ours to heal. It's ours
Right.
to choose differently. It's ours to see the pattern. I didn't grow up super poor. Okay. But my parents, especially my mom, you would have thought we were living in the street in a cardboard box in the middle of winter. That was her mindset.
Yeah.
So then I realized, I looked it up. We have 6 to 8 generations flowing through our DNA. 6 to 8 generations of information from your lineage. I'm gonna repeat that again because it blew my mind. That's I think 200 years
I say
of
I'm trying to do the math. Yeah.
right, but yeah, 6 to 8 generations. Now we're getting into something I love called epigenetics. You could change your DNA doing this work. I had a belief that I was gonna get sick at 40 something years old like my mother, and it started to happen. So, my doctor and I, we worked through it. We worked through the belief. My numbers came down from my A1C, from my diabetes, all that stuff started coming down. Wild.
Yeah.
So you can
Life
actually
changing.
change. Life changing is like beyond the word. And I won't go too deep into my health history, but that was the belief, is that I was supposed to be sick, but 6. I was maybe 6 years old. I was supposed to be sick at 40 something years old. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Again, so a lot of this stuff that's in you, really take a deep dive when you're in that belief system. Is this even mine? And how much of this is mine? How much is anger is mine? Anger? I'm not an angry person, but I'll get people. That's the first emotion people see when they meet me if they piss me off, is I get very angry. And I sat with myself and I said, okay, how much is this is mine? 20%. 80% was my lineage. And I see it,
Yeah.
and then you can then trace it back to your parents, to your grandparents, to your great-grandparents, to aunts and uncles.
It's crazy. I mean, I even think about it not going back that far, but, like, you were talking about your mom and thinking, you lived in a cardboard box. I felt the same with my dad. Um,
Mhm.
and it's funny because I remember talking to my grandma one time, and she was telling me, she was a little bit of a hoarder, and I was like, "Grandma, why do you think you have to keep all this stuff?" And she told me, "Well, I grew up in the depression when things weren't available. So I'm gonna hold on to this stuff." And that
Mhm.
was her mindset. But my
Mhm.
dad also was a hoarder or is a
Yes.
hoarder. Um, and I've commonly asked him, and he just goes back to, "It made grandma happy. Why can't you just accept that it makes me happy?" And it's one of those things where it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So seeing that, and then there's me who is like, "Get rid of it. I don't want it. Get rid
You're
of it."
choosing different. You're
Yes.
choosing different.
Yes. Exactly.
It's so when we're doing work together, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing all of this breakdown in you. And this is when people I had the most difficult reading this past weekend. It was so this girl, I couldn't even call her a girl, but she reminded me of a little girl. Like she was 40 years old, sat down and was like, basically didn't say a word to me. She said, I mean, she talked a little bit, but it was like when I started, flipping cards, I started to ask her questions. She's like, she kept saying, "You tell me. You tell me." Now I could see her whole system. I could see what's blocking her. And I go, "There's something blocking you." And then when I said what was blocking her, she got really tight. Like
Yep.
her whole body restricted. She like you thought this was she literally got tighter. She started to and then she started to deflect and project onto me. Then she started to say, you're really strong, but you got weak spots." And I said, "Number one, I'm going to stop the reading. I did not ask you to read me." This is exactly what I said to her. "I did not ask you to read me. I did not pay you to read me. You are not reading me. So stop it." I said, "You just didn't like what I just said to you."
Because you
Because
saw
she
her.
didn't. I saw her. And that's the funny part is it's my doctor says it. It's there's a word for it that's recently out in pop psychology. Disassociated attachment, is it called? Where
Okay.
you're like, "Don't see me, but see me."
Mhm.
I forget
I
the word.
want
I
you
think
to
that's the
see me,
word.
but
But
I'm
don't
scared
see
if you
me.
see me. Yeah.
Exactly. My
Because then
eczema
I
hands.
have to see it. If
Right.
you see it, then I have to see
I
it.
have to see. And that okay, so that right there, I'm just gonna go I know we do a little side we always do a little
Yeah.
side quest conversations.
We are
That's
down a rabbit hole.
exactly that is exactly what happens when you talk to people and that's what happens. That's why they run away. So so anyway, I had that situation happen to me. Second thing, I was talking to one of my really good friends, love him to death. It's so funny. He lives 2 blocks away from me in the city, and then he lives up in Beacon. So the first day we had breakfast in the city, and then we had breakfast the next day we had breakfast in Beacon. And it's so funny. I was like, "You sure?" Because we planned on having breakfast. He's like, "But I'm in the city on Friday. You want to meet for Friday?" I was like, "We want to do both days?" He's like, "Yeah." That's how much we like hanging out with each other. I love him. I adore him. He's probably gonna listen to this, I'm not gonna say his name, but anyway. So,
Hi.
hi, I love you. Um, but it's funny because I was talking to him and I'm like, I had a belief that people leave my life because they get upset at me or they get jealous. There's the word I used. I used jealous. And he literally sat across from me and said, "Maybe it's not jealousy. Maybe you mirror back things to them that they're not ready to face. So they leave your life." And that to me, because when I kept saying jealous, it just didn't hit right, but that's the only word I can come up with. But I sat there and my whole body, my whole system relaxed.
Yep.
And I'm like, "You're right. I am not a new I'll tell people I'm not a neutral moment." But when he said that reframe to me, I was like, "It's true." So
Yep.
when this whole situation, when you're with people and you think you did something wrong, you didn't do anything wrong. You just mirrored shit back to them they're not ready to face.
Yep. And you have to decide where you're at then, right? What feels good to you? Does it feel good to stay in that energy, or are you ready to step into something else? And that's where now you get to decide your reality instead of
Mhm,
saying, "I'm not good enough. They don't like me.
mm,
They're rejecting me." You get to say, "No, no, this doesn't work for me. I'm I'm going to let this go until later or never, depending upon the situation."
right. Sorry, we just went on 50 side quests, but it
Yeah.
still pertains to the same thing. It just
Yeah.
It's it again, it's all comes back down to how you create your reality. You
Yes.
create your reality, and people don't realize your reality is already created until you choose differently. So people talk about destiny. Yes, your destiny may be that same path over and over and over again because you're choosing the same thing.
Yep.
That's it. So, and it's funny because I took notes for this because I this is a topic I love to talk about.
Yes.
'Cause it blows people's minds, and again, it's not something that's, like, earth-shattering, it's happens slowly. You start to see things. So, where do I wanna start? So, the truth is, you're not reacting to your reality, you're reacting to a belief that's sharpening your perspective, that's driving your actions, that's creating your reality. I want you guys to rewind because 'cause I'm not gonna repeat it again. Okay? So, here's the shift. If you want a different reality, you don't start with the outcome. That is just so for me, I didn't start there. I said, "Oh, I don't like this reality." Well, where does reality start? With the belief. Because once that shifts, you see things differently. You move differently, and your reality has to change. It has to.
Yes. Yep. I
Wild.
love this topic, and I have a feeling we'll probably be doing a few more episodes on this
A part
topic
2,
because
part 3.
well, not well, not only that, but it's the basis for life. I mean, let's be real.
Mhm.
This is your reality. And how did it get there? I mean,
Many different ways.
yeah.
And
So,
and that they should be teaching this in school, but they're not because they don't wanna teach you to be a powerful being. And I'm so glad that I haven't heard it from smaller creators like me, but I've heard it from bigger people like Bashar. I think his name's Daniel Anka or not Daniel, Daryl. But
Daryl.
again, I hear like they're starting to talk about this. And I'm like, fuck yes, I'm on the right path because it makes me feel like I'm on the right path in my
Yes.
journey and when I'm how I'm supposed to show up to help you guys.
Yes.
Wild.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's where we leave it today. Thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Yes.
Share, comment, follow, like all the things. Let us know what else we can talk about. I know I would love to do an episode where Fran talks a little bit about her ghost hunting and some of that stuff. If you guys are in my camp on getting her to talk about that, let us know.
Yeah. It's
Otherwise,
fun.
anything
Yeah.
else? Anything else?
No, I'm
No.
good. If you guys
All
have
right.
questions, like, ask all the questions too in the
Yeah.
comments wherever you guys are seeing this.
Yeah,
And
please do, and we'll
yeah,
try to cover whatever, whatever questions you have. We love to talk, so,
yeah, clearly.
all right. Thanks for joining us today.
All right.
Bye.